Shri Mahaganapataye Namah Saraswatyai Namah Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Paradevataye Namah Om Sri Ramachandraya Namah Sadguru Saishwaraye Namah Om Sairam Om Asahayasahayaya Namah. Now let us hear the chapters of Sri Sai SATCHARITAM written by Hemat Pant, based on Sri Sai SATCHARITAM written in Malayalam by N.Somashekaran, translated by Sulini.V.Nair. Chapter 4. Sai in Shirdi. The life stories of sages give us untold joy. Sai's story is of incomparable sweetness. May devotees partake of the sweet feast and be filled with bliss. When do great saints like Sai incarnate? When righteousness declines and adharma rules the roost. When human beings become egoistic with the feeling that they know it all. When Brahmins start eating flesh and drinking liquor. When people pretend to be dharmic but commit condemnable actions in secret. When spiritual aspirants slip from japa, meditation and other austerities. When man moves away from spirituality and the higher purpose of life, thinking wife and children are the real sources of happiness. It is during such times that saints incarnate. Why do these saints come? Their sole purpose is to re-establish dharma, and they achieve this goal through their life. Bhagavan is the embodiment of love. Nothing and no one can truly describe him. The only thing to do is surrender at his feet. It was Sai that inspired me to write this book, and that is why I could write it in an orderly fashion. I need no longer become restless unnecessarily. The senses encounter objects and experience joy. The tongue knows the sweetness of sugar, but tongue cannot describe what sweetness is like. In the same manner, I am clueless as to how I could describe Sai's glories. Dear devotees, listen with attention. The Godavari is a sacred river, a hallowed tirtha that has birthed and nurtured many a great soul. Several great saints were born on its banks. Nivrittinath, Jnanadev, Muktabai, Namdev, Gora, he is a potter. Gonayi, Eknath, Tukaram, Narahari, Narsibai, Sajan Kasai, he is actually a butcher. Savata, a gardener, and Ramdas, with some of them who incarnated at various times. The exemplary lives that they led reveal the path to liberation for all of humanity. Bhagavan Sai, the great Yogeshwara, appeared on the banks of Godavari for the good of the world. His life rendered Shirdi ever pure and hallowed. Sai embodied the essence of truth. He conquered samsara, which is very difficult to cross over. His ornament was perfect calm. He paid little heed to praise or blame. He was completely uninterested in anything of this world or of the world beyond. He mingled with ordinary people and along with them watched the acting and dancing of nautch girls and listened to ghazal songs. Yet, he was always established in samadhi. Sai's hallowed lips ever chanted the name Allah Malik. What was night to the rest of the world was day to him. Their day was night to him. His inner self was as majestic, as calm as the depths of the ocean. Who is Sai? Which ashram does he belong to? No one knew. He stayed in the masjid itself for the most part, and yet he knew every little thing that happened in any part of the world. He told many stories every day, and yet he never broke his vow of silence. At times, Sai stood leaning on the masjid wall. At noon and in the evening, Sai walked to the Lendi and Chavadi. Through all of this, he constantly abided in the self. I do not know what meritorious act I did that I was blessed to be given protection under his wings. I do not deserve any of this, neither have I performed any austerities that make me a fit vessel for this blessing. But the compassionate Sai blesses even the lowest of all. His love alone is a reason for all of this. Though a Siddha, Sai behaved like a sadhak. He was humble and modest and filled everyone's hearts with bliss. He rendered Shirdi tremendously blessed with a touch of his sacred feet. As Patan was elevated to glory through Eknath, and Alandi rose to renown thanks to Jnaneshwar, Shirdi rose to prominence through Sai. The soil and the grass of Shirdi are blessed, taking the dust of his feet upon themselves. Shirdi is everything to us. Shirdi is our Pandharpur, Jagannathapuri and Dwaraka. Shirdi alone is our Kashi, Rameshwaram, Badri Kedar, Nasik, Trimbakeshwar, Ujjain, Mahakaleshwar, Mahabhaleshwar and Gokarna. Baba's darshan is our Vedas and Tantras. His darshan elevates us to the state of self-realization. Baba's Sambhashana removes all our sins. His Sparshana is equal to bath in the holy waters of the Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. All our desires are burnt, partaking of the water with which his feet are washed. His words are verily the Vedas. His Uddhi Prasad is all purifying. Sai alone is Sri Ramachandra and Sri Krishna. He alone is the absolute reality. Sai was least affected by the pair of opposites like joy, sorrow, love and hate. He was completely beyond these. He was never elevated or dejected about anything, but always remained immersed in the bliss of the self. Though he lived in Shirdi, his fame spread far and wide. People from all parts of the country came to Shirdi for his darshan and blessings. When one has Sai's darshan at the Samadhi Mandir, all sins are destroyed and the heart of the wildest sinner is rendered pure. Devotees have the feeling of untold joy and fulfillment in life. If such is the effect of seeing Sai's Samadhi Mandir, what then to speak of the blessed souls who lived with Sai and enjoyed the great good fortune of serving him? Devotees vouched that they experienced the same joy of seeing Vittala Rakumai at Pandharpur when they had Baba's darshan. This was not mere praise, but their genuine experience. Gauli Bua was a pujari from Pandharpur. Aged 95, he was a great devotee who constantly had the divine name upon his tongue. Once a year, he came to Shirdi to receive Sai's darshan. He was accompanied by a disciple and a donkey to carry their luggage. Gazing intently at Sai's face, he would say, "This is Vittala himself, incarnation of the compassionate Pandharinath, refuge of the destitute." Sai was immensely pleased by Nama Japa. He constantly chanted Allah Malik. He inspired and encouraged devotees to sing the divine name continuously day and night for 7 days. Once he instructed Das Ganu to do this Nama Saptaha. Das Ganu replied that he would do so, provided he got an assurance that Vittala would appear before him at the end of the 7th day. Baba placed his hand on his chest and spoke in a deep, calm voice. All right, you will behold the form of Vittala with your eyes. Have unshakable faith. He placed his hands on Das Ganu's head and said, the Dhankapuri of Dakurnath, the Pandari of Vittala, and the Dwaraka of Krishna are all here in Shirdi. One need not travel far to see Dwaraka. Does Vittala need to come here from elsewhere? Dwaraka is here. Vittala is also here in this very Shirdi. The Nama Saptaha proceeded beautifully. Finally, it was the last day. Kaka Sahib Dikshit was absorbed in meditation early in the morning. Suddenly, he had a vision of Vittala. His whole body, his whole being was bathed in bliss. Filled with joy, he went to Baba. Baba asked, didn't Vittala come? Didn't you see him? Hold on to him tightly. He is very naughty. Unless you hold tight, he will slip away. Never be inattentive. That afternoon, yet another Leela took place. A hawker came there carrying several photographs of Vittoba. Seeing the picture, Dikshit was stunned. In the picture, Vittala had the same form, same expression as in the vision he had that morning. Overjoyed, he bought one of those pictures and placed it in his puja room. Baba was very fond of Vittala worship. Bhagwantrao, Kshisagar's father, was a staunch devotee of Vittoba, who devotedly offered worship to Vittala's image every day. Once a year, he travelled to Pandharpur for his darshan. When his father passed on, Bhagwantrao did not continue the worship of Vittala's image or undertake the pilgrimage to Shirdi. But once he had to make the journey to Shirdi. As soon as he saw him, Baba said, his father loved me so much. As for him, he has starved both Vittala and me, depriving us of Naivedya. And yet I brought him here because my love for his father is boundless. I will teach this fellow everything and I will inspire him to offer worship daily. At Prayag is the confluence of the sacred rivers Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. Bath in this holy Tirtha is considered most meritorious. Das Ganu had a desire to bathe in that Tirtha. When he sought permission from Baba, Baba said, Prayag is here itself. You need not travel that far to take a dip in the holy Tirtha. Have firm faith in your heart that Prayag is here. Hearing this, no sooner did Das Ganu touch Baba's feet, then a wondrous Leela took place. Water started to flow from between Baba's toes. Ganga and Yamuna were right there. Seeing this, tears flowed from Das Ganu's eyes and poetic hymns in praise of Bhagavan gushed forth from his heart. Praying that all three kinds of afflictions be removed, Das Ganu offered the hymn at Baba's feet. Devotees throng to the Ganga to wash away the gravest of sins, and Ganga seeks the feet of the avatar to be free of the sins she bears. Leaving Sai's feet, we need not rush to the Ganga or the Godavari to wash off our sins or to accumulate merit. It is more than enough if we listen to his glories. Who is Sai Baba? No one knows where he was born, when he was born, and to whom. Neither did Baba reveal any of these details about himself. Namdev was found by Gonai on the banks of Bhimrati river. Tamal found Kabir on the banks of Bhagirathi. Sai Baba's story is also one such. Sai Baba was spotted for the first time in Shirdi under a neem tree. He was around 16 years then, and he was filled with young boy's innocence. And yet, he was a Brahmagnani, without the slightest desire for anything worldly. He kept Maya at the farthest distance. Mukti served at his feet. An elderly woman from Shirdi, the mother of Nana Chapdor, had this to say about meeting Sai back then. I first saw him as a very handsome young boy sitting absorbed in meditation under the neem tree. He had great charm and smartness. The villagers were astonished seeing the boy's hard penance, unmindful of heat and cold. He constantly remained under the neem tree with the temperament of a great jnani, despite being so young. One day, it so happened that the devotee's body was possessed by the deity Khandoba. The devotee started to tremble and shake in that state, and the villagers asked him with fearful reverence, Bhagavan, please tell us who that young boy is, and born to which saintly souls? Where has he come from and why? In reply to these questions, the devotee who was possessed by Khandoba pointed to a particular spot and instructed the villagers to dig there. They did as they were told and saw a flat stone with a brick construction under it. Removing the stone, they found a corridor and a cellar at the end of it. 4 lamps burnt therein. There was a pita, rosaries, and wooden planks. Khandoba said, this boy practiced severe austerities here for 12 years. Hearing this, the villagers went to the boy and asked him more questions. The boy did not say much, just a few words. That is my guru's place. Protect that place and keep it pure. As per the boy's instructions, they placed the bricks and the stone. The banyan is a sacred tree. Baba considered the neem tree to be equally sacred. Mahal Sapati and other devotees considered this site the resting place of Baba's Guru and offered prostrations there. A devotee called Hari Vinayak Sate bought the site with a neem tree and the space surrounding it and built a vada there. In the early days, this was the only facility at Shirdi for devotees to stay. A platform was built around the neem tree for devotees to sit. Baba once said that he who cleans the space and burns incense there on Thursdays and Fridays would win God's grace. It was much later that Dikshit built a vada. Sri Kaka Sahib Dikshit, a solicitor from Mumbai, was a great devotee. An incident took place when he was in England. He injured his leg in an accident and began limping. This was a blessing in disguise, as it was this that brought him to Shirdi. Sri Nana Sahib Chandorkar advised him to go to Shirdi and receive Baba's darshan and assured him that doing so would enable him to walk without difficulty. Due to meritorious actions in previous lives, Dikshit was blessed to reach Shirdi and receive Baba's darshan. But his prayer was to be cured not of the lameness of the legs, but that of his mind. What is this human body? It is but a tightly bound bag of skin with bones and flesh inside. Why bother if it has a small disability? After Baba's darshan, Kaka Sahib Dikshit decided to live in Shirdi itself. It was for this purpose as well as for the convenience of other devotees that he built the Vada. Its foundation stone was laid on the 10th of December 1910. It was a memorable day for various reasons. Baba granted permission to Sri Dada Sahib Kaparade to return home that day. That night, Arati at the Chavadi was started as well. The construction of the Vada was completed in 1911 and devotees started staying there from the Ramanavami day. The famous billionaire Sri Bhuti of Nagpur constructed a beautiful palatial Vada. This later became Baba's Samadhi Mandir. Thus 3 Vadas came up in Shirdi where there was nothing earlier. I offer this chapter at the feet of the Guru. Dear devotees, how Baba disappeared temporarily from Shirdi and then returned, his Leelas with Devidas, Janakidas and Gangagir, his wrestling match with Mohidin, Tamboli, the love of Sri Dengle and other devotees. I shall narrate all of this in the following chapter. End of chapter 4. Om Asahaya Asahayasahayaya namah.